the silence before the storm. The great council chamber of the Galactic Union was filled with voices, every race speaking at once, their words layered with pride, fear and distrust. They argued about trade, borders and control. But one topic returned again and again, the strange silence of Earth. For decades, Earth had not spoken. No delegate arrived, no message was sent, no protest was made. In the eyes of many species, this silence meant weakness. Some called humans timid, others called them primitive. A few warned caution, saying silence was sometimes the loudest answer. But those warnings were ignored. Among the gathered races, one species, the Thaler, grew bolder with every year. They controlled star lanes near Earth. They taxed passing freighters. They treated human colonies on the edge of space like servants. The Council allowed it, for they believed Earth had chosen silence instead of resistance. In a distant station above a dying star, a young observer named David sat quietly. He was one of the few humans allowed in Council space. His task was only to watch, to listen, never to speak. He wrote reports that were sent back to Earth. Yet even he did not know if anyone read them. David listened as the Thaler leader mocked humanity, calling them ghosts hiding on a blue rock. His words drew laughter from other species. Some nodded in agreement. David kept his face still, but inside him burned a quiet fire. Back on Earth, the silence was not weakness, it was preparation. For 50 years, Earth had spoken little because Earth was building. Humanity had known wars, disasters, and hunger. They had learned to endure. They had hidden their progress behind closed skies and silent transmissions. While the galaxy mocked, Earth forged a fleet, in underground shipyards buried beneath mountains, in secret orbital rings hidden from scanners. Humans built starships unlike anything seen before. Each ship carried the lessons of every human war. Each design was crafted not for parade but for survival. While the galaxy debated politics, humanity prepared for the day when silence would end. That day came sooner than expected. A Thaler warband struck a human colony near the border. They demanded tribute when the settlers refused. The Thaler burned the farms and left survivors to starve. Distress signals reached the galaxy, but the Council shrugged. To them, this was a local matter. But the signals also reached Earth. Deep under the oceans where command stations rested, lights turned from green to red. Codes long kept secret were activated, and the silent world finally stirred. David, still in the Council chamber, felt the air change. Screens on the walls flickered. An alert echoed through the chamber. Thaler scouts had been destroyed near the border. At first the Council thought it was a mistake, until the reports grew clear. The attackers were human ships. But these were not the old freighters the galaxy remembered. These were starships clad in black metal, moving in perfect formation, thousands of them, their hulls marked with the symbol of Earth. Panic swept the Council. The Thaler demanded answers. The other races whispered in fear. David rose to his feet for the first time. The silence of Earth had ended not with words, but with the thunder of 1,000 starships. The chamber fell quiet as transmissions filled the skies. Every Council outpost received the same message. It was simple, and it carried the weight of a world long underestimated. Earth speaks now, the voice declared, calm and steady. And we do not speak alone on the edge of known space. The human fleet advanced, engines glowing like 1,000 suns, and for the first time in centuries, the galaxy remembered what it meant to be afraid. The fleet that should not exist. The first reports spread like wildfire across Council space, thousands of human warships moving as one. Their formations too precise, their engines too powerful. Many thought it was impossible. For how could Earth, a world mocked as backward, create such a force in silence? In the Council chamber, the Thaler leader shouted, calling the reports lies, but then the main screens lit up with images from border stations, black ships drifting through the void, rows upon rows stretching beyond sight. Their hulls gleamed like shadows wrapped in steel. Each vessel bore the insignia of Earth. A simple circle of blue and green carved into black armor. David stood still among the chaos. He had spent years hearing laughter about his people, but now the laughter was gone, replaced by fear, and in that fear, he felt a strange pride. The Thaler demanded war. They claimed humanity had broken the rules of silence. They argued Earth had no right to build such power without Council approval. But the other species hesitated. For deep down they knew the truth. Humanity had never signed away their right to survive. While the Council argued, the fleet moved not with haste, but with calm precision. They did not fire without reason. They did not strike without aim. They moved first to the burned colony, the place where Thaler had left ashes. The surviving humans looked up into the sky and wept. for above them hung the largest fleet humanity had ever shown. Transports descended. Medics and supplies were delivered. Soldiers in dark armor stepped onto the ruined ground, but they carried no flags of conquest, only the banners of protection. They rebuilt what had been destroyed. Messages poured across the galaxy. Every species watched the broadcast of human ships landing aid on the colony. Even as Thalor vessels hovered nearby, armed and ready, humanity ignored their threats. They focused on saving their own. When the Thalor tried to fire, the fleet answered. One Thalor cruiser launched plasma bolts at a human destroyer. In response, 3 human warships shifted, their weapons silent at first. Then one precise volley of light cut across the void. The Thalor cruiser split in half. Its fire extinguished in seconds, the galaxy trembled, for no species expected such power. And yet the humans did not chase the survivors. They allowed the Thalor ships to flee. Their message was clear. Humanity would fight if attacked, but they did not seek slaughter. Back in the council chamber, David finally spoke, his voice quiet but sharp in the silence. For 50 years, you believed Earth was weak because we stayed silent, he said. You mistook patience for fear. You mistook work for surrender. Now you will see what silence was for. The chamber fell quiet. Even the Thalor leader could not find words. Then came the second shock. Long-range scans revealed that the 1,000 ships seen so far were only the vanguard. More signals appeared behind them. Carriers, dreadnoughts, entire armadas still emerging from hidden slip lanes. Species who had mocked Earth now whispered in panic. If Earth could build this without the Council noticing, what else had they built? What else lay hidden behind their silence? The galaxy had always measured strength in words. In threats, in loud shows of force, humanity had chosen a different path. Silence had been their shield. Work had been their weapon. And now their answer had arrived. David looked around the council chamber, seeing fear on every alien face, but inside him, there was no triumph, only a calm certainty. Earth had not come to boast. Earth had come to protect its people, and no one could take that right away. On the border, the Thalor retreated, but not in shame. They retreated in rage. They swore they would return with allies, that the Council would punish Earth. But deep down, even they knew. The galaxy had changed forever, and above the burned colony, under the shadow of 1,000 starships, the survivors whispered the same words again and again, words that soon spread across every human world. Earth speaks now, and in every corner of the galaxy, species who once thought of humans as quiet, simple, or weak began to fear what else humanity's silence had been hiding. The council divided. The council chamber had never been so tense. The air shimmered with the heat of arguments. Voices layered one over another, anger, fear, disbelief. The Thalor leader roared that humanity must be punished, that no world should be allowed to hide such power. But not all agreed. Some species trembled at the thought of war with humans. Others whispered that maybe Earth was right. Maybe silence had been wisdom for centuries. The Council had controlled weaker races, taxing, restricting, demanding. But Earth had obeyed none of those rules. They had chosen their own path. David stood alone in the chamber's human seat, his dark eyes steady. He listened to the storm of voices and said nothing. His silence felt heavier than the shouting of every alien in the room. Outside the chamber, the galaxy trembled. The images of Earth's fleet had spread across every channel. Ordinary people of other races watched with awe. Many began to wonder if humans had built such strength in secret. What else could be possible? The Thalor, furious and afraid, called upon their allies. They promised rewards, territory, trade, if others would help them strike at Earth. Some agreed out of greed, others out of fear. But a few species refused. One elder race, known for their long memories, spoke only one warning. Never mistake silence for weakness, they said, and left the chamber. Their words echoed in the halls long after they departed. Meanwhile, in the shadows of deep space, the human fleet moved again, not to attack but to protect. They positioned themselves around border colonies, building shields, laying down satellite nets, their silence now replaced with steady action. The council demanded answers. So David finally spoke, his voice calm but firm. Earth owes you no permission, he said. For 50 years, you ignored the suffering of our people. For 50 years, you taxed us, mocked us, burned our colonies, and when we cried out, you turned away. You mistook our silence as surrender. You mistook our patience as weakness. Now you will see what silence was for. The chamber shook with anger, yet none could deny his words. The Thalor slammed a clawed hand on the table. Then you admit it, they shouted. You built a fleet in secret to challenge us. To challenge the council. David did not flinch. We built it to survive, he answered. We built it so that no colony would burn again, so that no human child would starve while the council laughed. Outside, far beyond the chamber, scouts reported more human fleets emerging, not 1,000 ships but many thousands, from hidden stations around Earth, from deep slipstreams, from the cold silence of asteroids where no one had looked. The galaxy gasped. For it was clear now. Humanity had not built a fleet only to defend. They had built an armada that could stand against empires. Fear spread through council space. Merchants whispered of routes closing. Soldiers wondered if their armies could stand against the humans. Leaders argued in panic. But Earth did not boast, Earth did not demand. Earth only acted in the burned colony. Rebuilt walls rose again. Children laughed under the protection of human soldiers. Food supplies poured in, life returned, and the broadcast of this hope spread faster than the images of war. In the streets of alien cities far away, ordinary beings began to question their leaders. Why had they let the Thaler burn innocent worlds? Why had they laughed at Earth's silence? Why had they allowed cruelty in the name of power? And in the chamber, David watched the fear and doubt grow, his silence again heavier than words. The Thaler leader pointed at him with venom. You think silence is power, human, but silence will not save you when the council's armies rise. David met his eyes and whispered only one line. Then come and see. The chamber froze. No one spoke because they all knew if they came, they would not find a silent world anymore. They would find 1,000 starships waiting. The gathering stormed beyond the council chamber. The Thaler gathered their fleets. Their leaders were humiliated. Their pride demanded revenge. They promised their allies spoils if they joined the fight. Gold, worlds, trade lanes, anything to bring ships against Earth soon. An armada of many races formed at the edge of council space. Tens of thousands of ships, banners from a dozen species, each sworn to crush the humans before they grew stronger. The galaxy watched with dread, for no one had seen such a force since the old wars. Yet at the same time, whispers spread. Could even this army defeat the humans who had stayed silent and built in shadows? On Earth, deep under mountains and oceans, command centers lit up. Generals spoke in calm tones. They did not tremble, for they had prepared for this very moment for 50 years. They had known the galaxy would one day come. In orbit, carriers opened like steel flowers, releasing waves of smaller craft, drones, interceptors, rescue ships. The skies above Earth shimmered with organized firepower. At the burned colony now restored, survivors looked up with awe they no longer feared, for above them floated not just warships but hope itself. David sat in the council chamber still, surrounded by enemies, yet he did not yield. The Thaler accused Earth of breaking order, accused Earth of building an empire in secret. But David's reply was simple. We built not for empire, he said. We built for survival. We built so that no child would die begging for food while the council watched. If you call survival rebellion, then so be it. The chamber raged, but in their eyes was doubt, for the broadcasts of human aid spread across the stars faster than their anger could. In the border, the Allied fleet gathered. Their ships glittered with weapons. Their captains spoke of swift victory. They believed humans were still young, still fragile, that the sight of so many enemies would break their spirit. But when they jumped into human space, what they found froze their courage. The sky was already full. Lines of human starships stretched across the void. Black hulls shining with cold light. Thousands upon thousands, not scattered, not chaotic, but standing in perfect formation like soldiers waiting in silence. The council fleet halted. Their bravado faltered. They had expected to intimidate. Instead, they were the ones who felt small. Then the humans sent a signal. Not threats, not boasts, just one calm transmission. Turn back, the voice said, steady and clear. This is your only warning. The council armada laughed at first. Commanders mocked the message, but in their hearts they felt unease. Still, pride drove them forward. A Thaler warlord ordered the first strike. A rain of plasma fire cut across the void. Human shields lit up, absorbing the storm, and then, with chilling precision, the human fleet answered. 1,000 beams of white light struck as one, slicing through the Thaler vanguard. 20 ships shattered in an instant, broken into dust before they could scream. Silence fell across the battle. The Allied commanders froze, for never had they seen such coordination. Never had they seen such power unleashed with so little effort. Yet still the Thaler roared for battle. Their pride refused retreat, so they pressed again. Wave after wave. The humans did not shout, did not rage, they simply moved, calm as a tide. Striking only where needed, their discipline unshaken. Alien ships burned, explosions lit the void. The council armada was forced back step by step. Every advance met with a wall of human fire. On planets across the galaxy, Citizens watched the broadcast in silence. Their leaders had promised victory, but now the truth was clear. The silence of Earth had not been weakness. It had been strength beyond imagining in the chamber. David whispered to no one in particular. "This is why we stayed silent," and in that moment, the galaxy understood humanity had not wanted this war, but they had prepared for it all the same. The voice of Earth, the battle raged for hours. Fire lit the void. Ships burned and fell. The Thaler Armada pushed forward with fury, but every charge was met with calm precision. Human fleets shifted like one living body, thousands of ships moving in perfect rhythm. Council commanders had expected chaos, but what they saw was discipline born of survival. Every strike was measured, every defense precise. No wasted fire, no reckless charge. It was war not for glory but for protection. Soon the Allied fleet faltered, their numbers cut down, their morale broken. Ships turned to flee, their pride crumbling before the wall of human silence. And then, at the height of fear, the humans did something no one expected. They stopped. The fleet held its fire, engines cooled, weapons powered down. Human ships stood silent in the void while the shattered armada limped away. The Thaler demanded pursuit, but Earth gave none. The galaxy braced for conquest, but none came instead. A single broadcast echoed across every world. Every ship, every station, the face of David appeared, calm and steady, his voice firm. "We did not come to rule," he said. "We did not come to conquer. We came to speak after silence. And to say this, humanity will not bow. Humanity will not be prey. Humanity will not stand by while our people suffer." His words spread like fire through the stars. Not shouted, not raged, just spoken in simple truth. And that truth was heavier than any weapon. In the council chamber, leaders stared in silence. The Thaler roared with fury. But many others lowered their heads, for they knew the age of mocking Earth was over. David continued, 50 years of silence taught us patience. 50 years of silence gave us strength. We built not to destroy but to survive, and we will protect our people with all we have. If you attack us, we will answer. But if you seek peace, we will answer too." The galaxy trembled, for never before had such power been paired with such restraint. In the burned colony now rebuilt, children laughed under the banners of Earth. Their laughter was broadcast across the stars, an image stronger than any fleet, stronger than any speech in alien homes. Ordinary people whispered to one another. Perhaps Earth was not a threat. Perhaps Earth was a shield. The Thaler swore vengeance, but few listened now. Their allies abandoned them one by one. Fear and respect for Earth had spread too far, and so for the first time in history, the galaxy turned its eyes to humanity not as prey, not as a quiet backwater, but as a power that had chosen silence until it was time to speak. Above Earth, the 1,000 starships hovered in perfect order, waiting, not marching to conquest, but standing guard over a blue world that had waited too long. In his chamber, David closed his report, sending the final message home. Earth has spoken, and the galaxy has heard, and across the stars, from the farthest colonies to the richest core worlds, the same thought echoed again and again. Silence had been the warning, and the 1,000 ships were the answer, the end.